There we go.
Okay. I was going to ask a snow clearing question, but I'll give you a couple of comments on it because I know you guys have already answered. And I'll ask you another question instead. With snow clearing, it's not enough. More needs to be done. You probably remember my picture that was published in the Telegram last year. Snow machine putting snow on top of a fire hydrant. So, Mr. Galgay was good. He got back to me and he forwarded the message on to Department of Works, who then called me and explained it was environment's responsibility. They kept passing the buck, and the buck just stopped at every department. So I think just a word of advice for you guys who become a counselor: don't stop at just forwarding it out. Just work with your department and make sure they're all talking to each other and get the job done. The question I had is going to be very short, because at the very beginning you guys talked about neighborhood sort of values and things like that, and you had strategies and plans. So what's your vision for a good neighborhood strategy or plan?
I have a vision for neighborhoods and an ideal neighborhood, and my ideal neighborhood is one that has fantastic functional green spaces, has mixed developments. You have kids able to live with seniors. Seniors are able to live in their own homes without being squeezed out by high property taxes. We have beautifully preserved heritage structures. We have slow traffic speeds. We have recreation facilities. There are lots of things that to me make up an ideal neighborhood, and it starts with the community and listening to what the community has to say. One of the things that I've been talking about is what I call a framework of innovation, and basically, again, I go back to my background in IT, and innovation is not just a pie in the sky kind of ideal. It's a process, and the first step in the process of innovation is community engagement. Well, it's engagement, but in this case, it's community engagement, and that's to me how we reach those ideals for neighborhoods.
Yeah, so I guess my vision for neighborhoods would be that ideally everyone would be a part of some form of either formal or informal neighborhood association. And so whether that's just people who get together and they pick up garbage on Sundays, or if that's an incorporated body which has an administrative structure. But I think the main part about that is that people are talking. When you talk to your neighbors, you feel better about going outside your door. You feel like if something's happening with you, chances are your neighbors are going to know. Like, your neighbors are the people who have the most proximity to you, that they have the ability to have a huge impact in your life. If you know your neighbors, you smile at them, you talk to them, you're going to be happier in your day-to-day life. And I think that also, as I touched on before too, so I won't go into it, but when we have organized communities, and especially where it gets to the more formal ones, you're able to have more long-term planning. You're able to have neighborhoods that are putting together neighborhood plans. If there's an empty lot in the neighborhood, the community can come together and say, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had an art store here, or a flower shop, or a bakery, or whatever the case might be. And so that they're able to identify how that neighborhood can grow, and they have more expertise in that neighborhood than anyone else, I guess. So I'd love to see more ideas coming from the ground up. And another thing I would love to see is participatory budgeting. And so I think that there's a huge potential for that to happen. You could even do it on quite a small scale, take a portion of the Parks and Recreation budget or something like that, and say, okay, allocate it to each neighborhood that comes forward with a project, then the neighborhood can vote on it, decide what project they want to see go ahead in their neighborhood that year. And then people, I think if you start engaging people on that level, something that's an easy, it's a gimme, it's concrete, someone sees that they got a park on their corner, that then the next time the city comes knocking or sending a letter, maybe they're actually listening, because they might feel like the city, hey, last time I took a couple hours, we went down to that meeting, but look, we have this great park here. So I think if we start rewarding people for becoming engaged in our city through the neighborhood level, then we're able to foster a much more active involvement in city life for everyone.
Thanks for the question. As we all know, every neighborhood is different. The municipal plan, municipal review, which I believe is coming before council in the fall, one of the drafts, outlines a number of concerns which are specific to various neighborhoods, and the Georgetown neighborhood is not unique to that situation. I think what we need to do is we need to work with what we have, and then new communities, new neighborhoods will have to be designed quite differently. What we need to see in neighborhoods such as this is the city needs to come to you. You should not have to go to the city. And what we're doing tonight is a prime example of what I think, and something that I would commit to do, is on a regular basis, whether there's one person here or there's 50 or 100 people, it's to open discussion within neighborhoods and talk about the issues that you're facing. It's one thing to wait once a year or once every 2 years to evaluate, plan, or strategy. We need to take action, whether that's traffic flow patterns within neighborhoods, or it's identifying green spaces, ensuring that they're protected. Or for the example here, we talk about the Century Park. Obviously, we see a lapse of communication at the city. That's totally unacceptable. If that had not been brought up tonight, it may have been another 3 or 4 or 6 months before any progress had been made on that project. So I think it's all about communication. It's about bringing the city to you, bringing the developers or the planners at the city level to you, so that you can ask these questions. We shouldn't have to be, putting our arms up in the air every fall to talk about snow clearing. These are issues that should be addressed many, many months before.